Church of the Resurrection is a vibrant parish community that dates back to 1973. For over 38 years, our church has been ministering to the needs of our community. While facilities and faces have changed over the years, one thing remains the same: our commitment to Christ, to one another, and to the betterment of our community. Our church today is an active community comprised of over 500 households. Led by a dedicated pastor and strong core of lay leaders and volunteers, there is an increasing number of ways that people of all ages can participate in the spiritual, educational, social, and pastoral ministries of our church. Yet despite our young but strong heritage of activity and accomplishment, some significant challenges remain. Our church is a relatively young congregation with many active ministries. Although the addition that was built in 2000 helped address some of our space need, we were still in need of more space. Since that time, our congregation has grown further in both membership and ministries. Our facilities are aging and becoming increasingly too small. With the projected population growth in the northwest area of Grand Island, most notably among our children and youth, we will continue to burst at the seams, especially on certain days and nights of the week. This is something that we simply must address if we are to continue to minister to God's people and offer a welcoming, safe, and accessible facility to all. In the past 5 years, our parish has grown in membership by more than 50%. On a typical weekend, many masses are very full. There are an insufficient number of pews and pews without kneelers. Christmas and Easter Masses have had to be held concurrently in the worship space and parish hall. Even then, both spaces are always overcrowded with standing room only that often overflows outdoors. This is not conducive for meaningful worship and prayer. Sanctuary acoustics are also very poor. Sound is distorted in some areas of the church, and in other areas it is absent. This makes it difficult to clearly understand what is being said or sung, and for people to follow along and become more fully engaged in our liturgies. Our choir area, too, is inadequate for our needs. The space allotted to the choir is very small and does not allow sufficient room to accommodate instruments that would enhance our music and liturgies. Consequently, liturgical music is limited in scope and expression. Furthermore, the sound is very poor, so many times the beauty of the music is lost due to the poor acoustics. We also lack a suitable and reverent space for reservation of the Holy Eucharist. Guidelines from the U.S. Bishop's document, Built of Living Stones, Art, Architecture, and Worship, indicates that the Eucharist be reserved in a part of the church that is prominent, conspicuous, beautifully decorated, and suitable for prayer. Currently, the Eucharist is not visible, and the space associated with it is minimal and not conducive for adoration and prayer. Additionally, the location of the tabernacle does not allow for easy access by people in wheelchairs and by those who have other disabilities. Our current sacristy is also small and inadequate to keep the liturgical vestments and vessels. We need more ample storage and working space for all of our liturgical ministers, altar servers, as well as our priests to prepare physically and spiritually to celebrate the Mass. Our sanctuary, too, is too small to serve our many liturgical needs. The lack of sufficient space has posed problems for a number of liturgical services, in particular weddings and funerals. In short, we have simply outgrown our existing church and our building in a number of ways. Yet our yearning for a new worship space is not solely defined by our burgeoning membership. It is also defined by our desire to have an even more appropriate worship space. A space worthy of being called the house of God, which is reflective of our community, our communal rituals and practices, including liturgical art that enhances faith expression. A place that reminds people of what it means to be and worship as Catholics. Additionally, because our parish membership has increased so dramatically, we need to provide opportunities so that our members can more easily connect with others and get to know one another better, an important aspect in fostering a close-knit and unified faith family. Currently, there is no such space within our facility. The area we use now is the main entrance into our church, and it is too crowded for any type of meaningful conversations. This area originally was meant for a smaller parish than what we currently have today. While it may be possible for some to stop and chat outside in the summertime, it is difficult, if not impossible, to do so in the winter or during inclement weather. As a result, it is much easier for everyone to leave directly after Mass without stopping, and thus failing to make those all-important connections with other members and create a more closely connected faith community. A central location where information can be posted and where parish literature can be disseminated is noticeably absent. Very little, if any, opportunity exists in which information may be provided and conversations started. Additionally, there is no adequate space or room for families to gather during important times and events such as weddings and funerals. Currently, they have to meet in a classroom, the parish hall, or in the small gathering area outside of the sanctuary. None of these options fosters any real sense of intimacy. As our parish has grown, so too has our need for adequate parking. Many times, people are forced to park quite a distance from the church facilities and wind their way to the church. This can be problematic and difficult in inclement weather. It also serves as an easy excuse for some to leave Mass early, again missing the opportunity to get to know others better. Furthermore, we lack any means to easily and safely pick up or drop someone off, particularly the elderly and those with special needs. Additionally, it is difficult to access our basement. Since we currently do not have an elevator, the only way to get to our basement is via steps, making it impossible for our less able members or visitors to participate in any activity that might be held there, such as our annual garage sale. Again, this is not conducive to the welcoming environment we wish to create for our entire worship community. Our annual Vacation Bible School is always full to the point that the basement is utilized for crafts, which has led in the past to children with special needs being unable to participate fully in the experience. Finally, an important item not to overlook is that we also lack adequate restroom facilities that are close or connected to our church facility. The one restroom we currently have was originally designed to accommodate half of what our parish population is today. Our parish offices are very small and cramped and insufficient for our current parish staff. The main parish office needs to be located in a more accessible and secure area. The location of this office, as well as other offices scattered throughout the building, does not facilitate cohesive, let alone professional, working relationships. Similarly, our current religious education offices are too small for the growing number of children that we serve. There is only one office available, which is currently being used for the preschool through middle school religious education director, thereby leaving the high school religious education coordinator and youth minister without an office. In addition, the religious education office is doubling as a storage facility because of the lack of space available. All storage areas are being utilized to their maximum capacity. Our fertility care specialist is forced to use any space available for private meetings, which is a growing concern. As this ministry expands, a private, confidential space is essential in order to maintain the highest degree of professionalism and confidentiality. The parish nurse's office doubles as a religious education classroom on Sundays and Wednesdays, which encumbers the ability to conduct the health ministry in a professional manner. This again presents privacy and confidentiality issues. Our parish is young, and we have very strong family units that make up a large body of our church. Consequently, we have outgrown our present classrooms. Because we have so many children, we are forced to use the parish hall for classes, along with the parish nurse's office and even sometimes the gathering area. In 2000, we built our current parish hall. This was a major accomplishment, for it was truly reflective of the generosity of the people as stewards of God's gifts. But since then, our parish has grown exponentially. Currently, our parish hall does not accommodate even half of our households. We cannot host any event that would hold our entire parish. In fact, the maximum capacity for our hall is around 200, while our registered membership is near 1,600. We have had to outsource several funerals and weddings to accommodate larger ceremonies. As numbers have grown, so has the capability of our parish hall facility, our kitchen, and our sewing area is in need of modernization and development. Part of the mission and ministry of our parish is to encourage families to get together socially. In past years, we have had to rely on outdoor functions in order to facilitate this. As weather and other concerns have continued to force us indoors for these occasions multiple times over the years, we have reluctantly discontinued these events. This is unfortunate, as these events, in past years, have been very well attended and are productive at bringing our families together. To address these needs, we have an ambitious but achievable plan which would be completed in phases depending on the generosity of our members and the availability of funding over the next 12 to 15 years. Phase 1 of our plan includes constructing a new worship space, renovating the existing worship space into a new and more welcoming gathering space for our members, and adding new parking and a convenient drop-off area on the west side of our